All right, so the next thing to do would be to get this to look the way that we want. So you can see it's very blocky. It's what I would call kind of low res. Before I subdivide it, though, what I want to do is clean some stuff up because I want to subdivide it and then do that thing we did before where we mirrored it. And the issue with doing that at the moment is that if I try to grab one half of this, I guess it would be this side. So you hold Alt and I click on the upper. So if I go to the left here of this, imagine this is a quadrant, it will go around that way. If I click on this and go to the upper, it's going to go this way. But you see it's grabbing a bunch. And the reason being is that you want to have this nice center line all the way through. But you will notice if I go all the way around, looks good, looks good, looks good, and boom, no good. See how it's like offset? I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but I'm just going to fix that real quick. Just make sure you have a center line going all the way through. So I'm just going to hit K for the knife tool. Going to click here and going to click there and enter and voila. Then I'm going to go back to 3. Make sure you get your select. I'm just going to go ahead and delete both. Oops. Delete. And we want to delete faces. I'm just going to go ahead and delete both of those. That's good. And now I can grab that whole edge loop to delete this side here. So I'm going to click here. And then I'm hold Alt and click on the upper part. That'll go all the way around, you can see, right? And then I'll hit delete, and we will delete faces. And let's see, how do I grab all of this? Let's see, I'm trying to think of a way to get all of it together here. I'm gonna hit wireframe here, and then grab this all like that, and then delete, and we will delete all the faces. I'm going to go back into flat shade, and I'm just going to make sure that everything else is good. It looks like it's good. A little bit worried about it actually, so I'm going to hold Alt and Shift. See, some of it's actually not entirely flat, but I think I can make this still work, so we're going to just do it anyway. Okay, so with the object still selected, now I'm just going to go ahead and do the mirror again, and I want to make sure I put on clipping, and I can see that there are some gaps in some places. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go 2. I'm going to grab this edge, and we will Alt. So click on one edge and then Alt click, and that will go all the way around it. And then I'm just going to go G, and I'm just going to make sure that we move them around until they basically it snaps and click off. And that worked on most of them. Didn't grab this one, so we'll just do 1. I'm going to grab this guy and hit G and just pull it until it's tight, and there we go. So now I think there are no more seams. Okay, now there's not enough resolution here to kind of like put like proper feet and stuff on and other things. So what I'm going to do is on top of this modifier, we're going to add a subdivision modifier. So you're going to see there's basically 2 of these that kind of do similar things, but kind of not. So one's a subdivision surface. What it's going to do is it's going to round it out, but you can't really do anything much beyond that. Like it just, it's a little more dynamic, if you will. The other one's this multi-resolution. This one will allow you to sculpt at higher resolution and lower resolution, and they affect each other. If I had to keep one, I'd keep this one, but this one's a little bit simpler. So we're going to do this one to start with, and you see it's going to build kind of the shell, and it'll be subdivided. So I'm just going to lower the render, but you can up the number of subdivisions here. Oops, thought I was. So you can make it smoother and smoother, but that's basically it. And you work within the shell of what it is. We only want to go to level 1. I just want to go 1 level up because you can see that's going to make it smoother overall. So I'm going to say that that's good. Now, it's still technically just the shell. So I can move things around. So you can see if I move this, see how it's kind of affecting it? Like they call this sometimes like a hull. But I actually want to execute this so that I can use it to actually model on. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply this. I'm going to have to get back into object mode, then just go on this and hit apply. And now that is now what the model is. The tab to go back into modeling mode, and you can see that we do in fact have the various elements that we need. Okay, so from here, it might be a good idea to go ahead and just adjust it a little bit more to get it closer to what I want it to look like. So because you can see like some parts are too small, some parts are too fat, things like that. So I think what I'm going to do is just do some rough sculpting on this, and then from there, because I think it'll be a little bit easier than trying to move the points and such, we'll do sculpting instead, and then from there we will extrude out where I can get the pieces, like because his hands and stuff, like I don't have any fingers or anything if I wanted that. There's not proper topology to make an actual like face because there's no edges loops for it. So we're gonna switch to the sculpting tab here, and you can see we can start sculpting. These are our sculpt tools. I'm going to go more into these later on. The only ones you really need to deal with right at the moment is the regular sculpt and the move or grab, which is elastic deform is good, snake hook is good, and grab is good. So really, I would deal with this one, and then you're going to hold shift to smooth. So actually, let's do grab to start with, okay? And I can use the bracket keys to the right of your P key to make this bigger and smaller. And what I'm going to do is just, also make sure that you have symmetry on and put it on symmetry X. So that way it'll do it on both sides. Otherwise, oops, didn't mean to do that. Otherwise, it won't apply on both sides. Okay, so grab just does literally what it suggests. It just, you can grab pieces. So I'm just going to try and basically try to thicken up some parts here. So maybe just, I'm picturing this actually being kind of like a lizardy guy. So let's thicken things up. So I'm going to go to the sculpt tool here, and we'll just kind of, just going to give them a little more girth, if you will. This is definitely better if, that was way too much. This is definitely better if you have a tablet of some sort, and then I hold shift to smooth. Okay. If you have a tablet of some sort, I don't have one right now with me. This is just using a mouse. I'm going to hold shift a bunch here because that will allow me to kind of smooth that out. Looks like I have a little bit of a, maybe it's not as much of a little bit of an imperfection there. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. I can fix that later. So I'm just picturing this being a little bit more like a tail. I'm just going to kind of holding shift as I thought I was holding caps lock. Whoops. That explains it. Okay. This obviously needs a bit more thickness, so I'm just going to kind of add a little bit more there. So we're just doing regular old sculpts, but if I did need to go in, so like for instance, these need to go in. So smooth in general might not be a terrible way of going about it because you can see I do that. But if you want to actually just purely sculpt, and you just hold control and that goes in as opposed to out. So I'm just going to try and sculpt this a little bit closer to what I desire. Let's see, let's go to grab again. And I'm just going to take this and we will pull this out back this way. So like so, just trying to get this to be a little bit closer to what we're looking for. So I'm just going to try to pull this down, then hit smooth to pull it back to smooth it out. So that looks a little bit better. Let's see if we can pull this down. He needs a little bit more stuff in there. Really, come on, come here. There you go. Let's get this in general. Can't seem to. Oh, you know why? I keep grabbing at the mirrored one. That's stupid of me. Okay, so all right, just smooth it. Okay, that looks a little bit better. All right, same thing with this. Let's just pull this out a little bit. Smooth that out. All right, just trying to make it look a little bit more like the front shoulder here. Don't worry about making it perfect. I'm just trying to make it so that I can get to the pieces that I need to. That things are generally in a better spot before I start doing the hands and stuff like that, or like the paws in this case. So I'm just trying to get this to be a little bit closer. All right, and then we'll go up here, and I'm just gonna make. I'm thinking this will be like a lizard guy or something, and I'm gonna make him purposely sort of thinner because I think he would look cooler that way. So you get a rough idea, right? So we'll call that good. It's not the greatest, but you get the idea. Okay, so then I'm gonna go back to modeling, and now I need to add the elements that I want in order to put stuff here. So if you look, there's not really enough geometry to kind of support hands. For one, it's kind of rounded here, so I'm gonna flatten this by hitting 3. Make sure you're in edit mode. I'm going to hit S, and then I'm going to hit Z, and I'm just going to hopefully flatten this. And it's like being really particular. S and Z. There it goes. Being real There we go. And then we'll do G and Z. I'm just going to push it down a little bit just so it's a little bit flatter. And I'm going to do the same thing on the back end here as well. I will grab this face, this face, this face, this face. And then we'll do S and Z. And I'm just going to flatten that. And then I'm going to do G and Z and move it down just a little. Okay. So now I can use that and basically draw my legs or my fingers and toes and stuff from that. So you might need more resolution depending. I'm going to, I could probably just use what's there, to be honest. So we'll just do that. So to make the fingers or paws, all I'm going to do is just go to 3. And I'm going to grab this one. We'll just grab one at a time. And let's, I'm going to hold Alt and go to the side here because this will make it a little bit easier. Alt and middle. So like, there. Okay. I'm going to hit G and I'm just going to, oops, sorry, not G, E. Let's try that again. Okay. Control Z. Okay. E. There it goes. And we'll pull that out. And then we'll just go about, we'll say that much. And then I'm going to hit S. And I'm just going to scale it down. And then I'll hit G and I'll pull it down. So it's better when I go from the side because that way it's not moving in all axes, if that makes sense. So then I'm just going to do G and we'll do Shift Z so I can move it inwards like this. That's good. And then R, I'm just going to rotate it like that. Okay. So we'll say that that's one kind of finger. And I'm just going to grab the next one. Again, I'm going to go to the side. I just think it'll be easier this way. E, I want to pull it out. We'll say like that. Let's go to the side here. That was way too much. So let's do G. Pull it like that. That's good. S, shrink her up a little. Let's do G again, kind of like that. R, let's see if I can rotate that a little bit better. G, pull that down a little. All right, so it's okay. So then we'll grab this one, and again, I'm going to hit, actually, let's try doing this from the top, maybe. Oops, from the top here. We'll go like that. Okay, now I'll hit G, pull it, oops, sorry, E, E. All right, and then, okay. All right, let's try that again. There we go. E, I'll just pull it straight out. Click, G, go like this. S, skinny it up. And then let's see how it looks here. So we'll do S and Z because it's a little bit too tall. That's good. And then we'll do G. I'm just going to pull it down. And you can see now he's got sort of something like that. I'm going to grab this one because I'm picturing these be kind of like the fingers and then like the thumb here. So we'll do E. I'm going to pull that this way. And then S. Scale it down a little. And let's see, that is fine. It's going to need a lot of love, all of these, but they're a start, okay? All right, and I would just do the same thing on the back end here. So I'm going to pause it, do it real quick, so you don't have to watch it, and then I'll just show you what we would do. Actually, how much time we're at? So actually, you would just want to do it on the back. We'll just accept that I did that. So I'm going to pause it and do it. Okay, so we have these rough feet. They're not great, obviously, but they're there. They could probably use a little more resolution. I could put like some edges inside of there, just literally Control R. Oh, let's go like 1. Control R and just put them. Oops, we'll just right click. Control R. Right click. Control R. Right click. Control R. Right click. Control R. Click. Right click. Control R. Click. Right click. Control R. Click. Right click. And I did one back here too. So Control R, click, right click. Okay, so that looks a little bit better, but obviously they need a little bit more love than that. But some other things that we have to worry ourselves about is actually the face here, right? So if you remember, you want to have the edge loops flow around the elements themselves, and typically you have the eye area and a mouth area. So we need to basically add those. So let's do the eye first. I think this face here probably makes sense. You might need to do multiple ones depending on your resolution and all that, but I think probably one's fine. So I'll hit 3. I'm gonna click in here. I'm gonna hit E, and then I'm gonna hit S to scale it in, like so. and that looks acceptable. They do have this inset faces, but it seems to just hit E instead of doing that every time. Okay, so we'll call that an eye area. That's fine. Don't need to do too much more than that. And then we need a mouth area. So for this, I could do this any number of ways. I could go here and then control click, and it will grab that whole area. And then I can extrude this in. So I'll just show you what that would look like. So I'll hit, actually, let's do I for inset so you can see. So I'll inset that, and then you can see that basically I have a mouth, although I have something weird going on there, so I'd have to fix that. I think it created a face there that I didn't want. So I do that, or if you have an edge that's there, you could just cut it. But I think I'm just going to try and see if I can fix whatever's going on in here. Actually, you know what? Let's try this. I got a better idea. Instead of inset, because I think inset's cutting it in, let's just do E and then S to scale in. Yeah, that's a little bit better. So I'm going to scale that in. We'll go about, we'll say that much. I'm going to click. I'm going to do S and then Z to scale in this way, like that. And then let's turn the side. And then I'll just do G and Y. Push it out this way a little bit more. And, you know, I could adjust this a little bit too, because obviously some of this is looking a little not the greatest. However, he does have at least an edge loop for the mouth. So meaning like if I hit Control R, see how there's an edge loop around that, and there's also an edge loop around the eyes. But I'm going to try and keep it as low res as possible. Now, if you had other elements like escape, if you had other elements like I don't know, like a spine or something, or you want to have like, I mean, if it was something that was sticking out, you probably would have done that earlier when you modeled. But if you know, you could still do that now. Like I could grab, you know, these faces here. I keep hitting caps lock when I mean to hit shift. I grab those, and actually let's do something like this. I grab these, hit E, and then, you know, pull it out, and then S to, like if you're supposed to have some spiky thing. But you could do some other parts, and then just Control R to, you know, divide it up and make sure there's enough geometry to support it. So it's kind of up to you how you want to, if you have other elements that need to be in there. I'm just doing a real basic guy here. Once I have those elements, then I'm just going to go back to sculpting again. So I'm just going to hit tab to get out of that. So this will be basically my base mesh. Now it's probably a good time to save it. So I'm just going to save this, Control Shift S or Command Shift S. So skins, and we're just going to make it V2, and then we'll save as. Okay. So from here, I'll just go back to sculpting, and I would just start basically making sure that I you know, fill it out and get the shapes a little bit better. But we'll cover this a little bit more in the next one, because on top of this, but I would just get the general shape what you want, because now we have most of the elements. And then later on, what we'll do is I'll show you how to use the multi-resolution in order to get it farther. But this is probably a good starting point that you have a base mesh. All right, so yeah, good luck.